So, today we're going to do a Holoflash finish. This is a finish that was made famous by Kramer in the mid-80s. These are gorgeous finishes. They have a hologram-like effect that really plays the light. I've wanted one of these guitars for a while, but they're quite expensive. To do a Holoflash finish, we're going to need a donor guitar. And I searched far and wide on Reverb and on eBay for an early 80s Kramer that fit the profile. They were just outside my budget. I did find a Jackson Soloist. This is one of those made in Indonesia, kind of bottom of the barrel budget soloists, but it has all the things we need. Floyd Rose, neck through construction, a satin finish. Let's get to it. There's so many peanuts. It's gonna make a mess. I picked this up for a song on eBay. I was searching for these soloists because I've always wanted one, and I found the one that no one wanted. That's the trick. Buy the guitars no one wants. Not too shabby. It's not going to take much to restore this to its former glory. It's dusty, it's dirty, it's missing the trim arm. It's got a big scratch here, but of course, we're going to be refinishing this with Holoflash, so scratches don't matter. Feels very pointy, very metal. I love it. This is going to be a perfect Holoflash guitar. Here's why. Gold hardware. So I got the gold Holoflash. When we put this on, there'll be some gold elements, but there'll also be some blue, red, purples. And I really think that the gold hardware, the gold knobs, is going to make this guitar pop. We also have gold tuners, gold locking nut. Man, it is raining so hard, and it's so loud. So I have the Jackson Soloist on the bench, and I've stripped it. So I basically removed the pots, the switch, and the Floyd. That's good enough for now, because all we need to do is fix one tiny little chip on the front of the body before we Holoflash. So I think what we're going to do is just drop fill this. It's the easiest thing to do. We're going to drop fill using black super glue. We're going to get it to be a little bit proud of the actual finish, and then we'll level it off. Okay, so this is our tiny little chip that we need to drop fill. There's a portion of it on the face of the guitar, there's a little bit of it on the edge, and there's just a little bit of a scratch on the side. All we're worried about is the face. Damn. Evil metal. So when you're doing a repair like this on a metal guitar, you want to make sure the weather is metal weather. You want there to be thunder and lightning, and it's got to be stormy outside. It's the only way to properly do this repair. All right, so this is the Dovov Mini Heat Press, model AK-001. I picked this up on Amazon. Compact heat press. Nice. So I chose this one for a second reason. Not only does it get very hot, hotter than any other craft iron on Amazon, this comes with a ceramic heat element. So this here is ceramic, it's not metal. And I thought to myself, one, it's way, way smoother than metal. Two, it's gonna get very hot. And I'm just curious how this works with the Holoflash material. It's got a really great handle, and it came with a base. I think this is just silicone, so it shouldn't melt or burn or anything. All right, let's test it out. All right, so I powered it on, and there's 3 levels. So you push the button basically 3 times to get to grade 3, which is the hottest. Blinking, I assume it will stop blinking when it does get the temperature. Now we're gonna try this on the back of this guitar. We need to test it on this guitar because this is a satin finish. I don't know if it'll work on satin finish. So this is cool. In my kit for the Holoflash, not only does it come with the Holoflash, it came with a little envelope that says small pieces of film included for practice or touch-ups. So kind enough to actually include just a little bit more material for this exact purpose of testing. So I thought that was super cool. And let's take a look. Here's like a little note. I'm just gonna try this out with just normal artist's watercolor paper. And I assume this goes down like this. I'm gonna put this here. Now we're gonna test it. I don't know when to stop. See some discoloration a little bit. Paper, I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know if you can like overcook it. Not really sure that's a thing. It looks different there, like maybe it's sticking there. Do I hold? Do I press down firmly or do I press down lightly? Really not sure what to do here or how long, so I'm just gonna take it off real quick. And that did not do anything. It just kind of melted. Did I do this right? I think I melted it. I think I might have melted it. Let's try again. Oh, this sucks. I was really banking on this to work. I was banking on it. All right, I got this to work finally. And I was wrong about a couple of things. One, you don't need a hot iron. I'm using this on the lowest possible setting, which is number 1. So, first mistake. 2, you don't really put it on here for a very long time. You just put it on for literally a couple of seconds. If I was just using the craft iron on the actual Holoflash, I would be using it for 2 seconds. That's 2 strokes, 1, 2. If I'm putting a medium between it, then I'm gonna do 4 seconds. So let's try this. So I wanna put some about right here above this patch, right there. And I'm just gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to lift. And there it goes. Perfect. Like I figured it out. Now it took a couple of tries to figure it out, but it is pretty damn awesome. That's it. That is super flippin' killer. I figured this out. So definitely you want to use parchment paper. So this is parchment paper. It's not wax paper. It's parchment paper. I just cut a little sliver off and it's semi see-through so I can actually see what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this section right here and I'm going to take my sheet of gold. I bought gold and silver, but the first layer I want to be gold. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it right here. And so the craft iron is on the first setting, which is the lowest setting. And what I want to do is I want to first put it down so that the paper sticks to the body. So it's not sliding around. So I'm just going to go 1. Now I know that that's on the body now. It's stuck to it. And I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to use the edge of the actual iron. And I'm going to put a considerable amount of pressure to really press that film in there. And then I'm going to let it cool. I don't know if this is an actual step that's doing anything, but I'm letting it cool because it's hot to the touch. And I feel that if it cools, it's transferring the film onto the body. So this is enough time. And this is how you can tell that it's actually working. It's got this particular look to it where you can tell it's stuck to the body. Now I'm going to lift. And there you go. That's the best method I've actually experimented with that actually works. And you get a nice big chunk. So what I want to do is cover the entire thing with 1 pass of gold. Then I'm going to do a pass of silver on all the tiny little black spots. And then we might do another pass of gold. But that's the method. It's basically, I'll do it again so you can kind of see it. So you put your piece where you want it. We'll do this piece here. You want to put your parchment paper on there. you want to stick it down. So 1 second, 1, 2, I know that's stuck on there now. And now what I'm going to do is do 1, 2, 3, and then the edge. I'm just really bearing down on this. I want the edge of the iron to really kind of make it stick. It's got that look. So there's a little air bubble here. You can see that air bubble there. That means that's not stuck. Now if I wanted to stick it, I could get that air bubble out and press it. See? It's gone. Now there's an air bubble here if I wanted to fix that, but I'm not going to. We're just going to let this cool for about 4 seconds. That's good enough. And then I'm going to peel. And then look at that. So obviously I'm using the very edge of the paper. So there's a hard edge there. You can see a line. So what I want to do is kind of go over that with silver and get rid of that line. So I'm just going to use the middle part of the silver here. 1, 2, now it's stuck. Now I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then use the edge of the crafting iron. And the beautiful thing about this is that it's got this ceramic edge, so I know it's not going to like tear or rip or anything. This is the look you want right there. That's the look. And then let it cool. And there you go. Got rid of the line. But look at that. So now we have a little bit of silver and gold. And when we mix and match the silver and gold, it's going to look killer because the silver gives you more purple and blue, I think, than the gold does. Gold's got some interesting like greens in it. But in any case, this is my plan. My plan is just to go over and over and over and over and make it look awesome. All right. So just want to demonstrate how this film actually doesn't want to come off. So I'm using alcohol, 70%. And if you scrub it long enough, you might get a little bit off, but it's very, very hard to get off unless you use something like acetone. And acetone is scary because it actually might take the actual satin finish off. And I was able to get a small piece off just by rubbing the alcohol for a very long time. I'm kind of using my fingernail too, and that kind of gets it off. But this stuff is on there really good. And I think it's a pretty durable finish. You can see I'm barely removing this film. But these were my practice sections here, and I practiced on the back until I kind of got my strategy down. But it does look a little bit ugly in the back, and I want to get rid of this. And so I'm trying alcohol first. I'm going to try this Goo-Gone, which is an adhesive remover. You don't really need a lot of it. Let's test this. It's coming off a little quicker than the alcohol. So it took off a little bit there. It's still a lot of work. OMG. This finish came out absolutely spectacular, and I did it in one morning. So I've never done a finish that quick before with that much satisfaction and joy. And I highly, highly recommend doing a Holoflash finish because you can get so creative with how you apply it. So you do need some kind of polyurethane or poly finish or satin finish to apply this on. And if you noticed, if you watched the vid, I was trying to take off the tests on the back, and it was very difficult. So even with semi-abrasive paper towel and alcohol, it was very, very difficult to remove. So I don't think your arm sweat is going to remove this, at least not easily. So according to the internet, just anecdotally, you can't put a clear coat over this unless it's water-based, because any of those like volatile chemicals in the lacquer are gonna just melt the film. But remember, this is microns thin, microns. You don't feel it with your fingers. You don't feel it. You can even layer. I've layered so many gold and silver in here, and you just don't feel it. And it doesn't come off. If you used your fingernail, it wouldn't come off either. Like I was using my fingernail and alcohol and it wouldn't come off. So you have to trust me on this. You could put a clear coat over it. Yes, if it's water-based. You don't have to. So this guitar is absolutely beautiful. And of course, it has to do with the refraction and the angle of the light. So if I go outside right now, we have a gray day. It's overcast, a lot of clouds, and the light is highly diffused. This will actually look gold and silver. You won't see any of the rainbow chameleon colors. It'll just look gold and silver, which also looks really, really cool because you have to have basically an angled light hitting at an angle and bouncing at an angle to see the colors. If it's flat, I'll show you if I can move this flat. Then you'll just see gold and silver. So I want to talk a little bit about the learnings. So one of the things that I immediately learned after actually doing a little bit of research online and seeing some of the Holoflash finishes, what I realized is that it's the black in between the patches that really makes the finish. Now, when I first started, I thought, oh, I'm gonna cover the whole guitar. There's not gonna be any black on it. I soon realized that it's the black that makes it look cool. It's the negative space that brings out the finish. But that's what makes the finish. I highly recommend leaving as much of the crackle black as you can. It just looks better. The other thing that I learned was you don't need a lot of heat. I was under the impression you needed a lot of heat. I had my craft iron on the lowest setting. That was my first mistake I made. I had it full blast, probably at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and it wasn't working. You don't need a lot of heat. The third thing I learned is that you want a medium in between the iron and the actual film. And I'm using parchment paper. This is unwaxed paper. It's just parchment paper you find in your kitchen. That's where I got this. And you want a variety of sizes, medium, big, and small. And you'll know when you need to use the medium, big, and small because a lot of the times you don't want your craft iron touching the already existing film. So you want to protect that over here while you're working over here. So you need long pieces, you need medium pieces, and tiny pieces. So the other thing that I learned was with the film, let's pretend this is the film, you have a hard line because, you know, there's sheets of rectangles. And if you use that hard line and apply it on your guitar, and you apply the Holoflash with your iron, it puts that hard line in there and it looks so cool. And if you can angle all those hard lines, you get a very unique design. And I have a little bit of that up at the top, and I love the way that look. Now I love the way the patchwork looks, but I love the hard lines too. And if you can mix and match that, it would be amazing. So this is just a lovely finish, and you get immediate joy from applying it. It's very similar to like applying a stain, where you apply your stain, you get that immediate joy, or applying your oil finish and you get that immediate satisfaction. This is very similar to that. This is something that you can do on the weekend, one morning, if you just had a donor guitar. You can take really boring guitars. This soloist was a very boring guitar, and you can make it just pop. It's just such a cool guitar. So yeah, the Holoflash film is a little pricey, but not more expensive than buying rattle cans from StewMac or stains from Crimson. It's just yet another thing you could add to your palette and another way of finishing a guitar that's just a little bit different. So I hope that this type of finish really takes off. Not only is it a lot of fun, easy to apply, but you get immediate satisfaction. And you can convert really boring guitars to something that really pops. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.